So I've gone over diode lasers before that are smaller profile, easy to travel with, take to craft fairs, but sometimes that price point can be a bit much if you're new to lasers, an absolute beginner, or only need something like that occasionally. So let's talk about other options, such as the new Sculpfun iCube5W. This little guy packs a punch with a 5-watt laser beam. It also comes in a 3-watt variety, and according to the box that was shipped to me, there may actually be a pro version with a 10-watt laser head coming at some point in the near future. Although Sculpfun provided me with the laser for the video, I am not being paid to produce this content. Therefore, all opinions expressed in this video are honest and my own. Now that we've gotten all that legal stuff out of the way for the twitchy people among us, let's go ahead and dive right into the features. Okay, the most obvious point. It's actually still pretty small, even though it is a standard diode laser. So other lasers that I've shown in the past that are portable or even handheld are actually galvo lasers. So they're using two little beams to kind of all around. This laser is actually still an XY axis laser. So this diode is going to be moving a laser head around to do any kinds of engraving or cutting. And even with that going on, it is still only 8 inches wide and 8 inches deep, and I guess 8 inches tall, seeing as how it's called the iCube. It comes pre-assembled like this. The only thing you're going to have to do is to basically remove the cover and attach the laser head unit to the gantry. It also comes with this really helpful laser repair kit. When you open it up, it basically includes an extra lens, very important, especially if you burn through lenses making Haunted Mansion tombstones like I did, tweezers, and then tools that specifically match the machine, so you don't have to go digging through a pile of tools in your messy garage. Oddly specific. And of course, like most lasers that I've gotten in the past few months, it does come with sample materials so that you can go ahead and start testing the machine right away without burning through some of your better stuff. It comes already equipped with the safety shield here, so you don't have to worry about providing extra eye protection for potential customers at a craft fair or even for yourself while it's working. So all you have to do is slide it off, and you have full reign of this area here, and it allows you to expand so that you can slide things through on your own using tools such as Lightburn to mark areas. So you're not necessarily limited to this tiny spot. Now, one of the things that's actually pretty unique about this is that it comes with an air filtration system already built in. Right back here are air filters. They're pre-installed. It does come with one extra filter that you can stick in here and change out basically when you notice that it's gotten pretty dirty. This helps get rid of lots of toxic fumes, smoke, and debris. That's a very important feature to have in a machine like this, especially if you're doing indoor craft fairs. Like I said in other videos, doing craft fairs with a laser is absolutely possible, but if you're indoors, you need to provide some means of filtering the air that is coming off of the laser. All you have to do if you want to use user-defined areas is move the laser into place, and it has its own little flip out device here to help you achieve focus. And all you have to do is basically turn the little screw on the side, have this little guy down here completely out, boop, drop it, and tighten the screw to have it in place. Now, of course, before you set go, push that back up, and that's actually how you do your focus. And I know a lot of people want to have automatic focus with some machines like this, but for foolproofness, I actually prefer the manual ones. I think that it's a lot faster and you can get a lot more done quicker. Even if you need to defocus, you just need to have a piece of material underneath it, but sitting on top of your piece of here that you want to engrave, that's of the correct size. Oh yeah, and lest we forget, because it is a little on the loud side, but personally I appreciate the fact that it has it. There is air assist already embedded into the machine, so you don't have to buy a separate unit to plug into it for air assistance. This is super important for these kinds of lasers that actually have a functional laser head on an axis gantry, because it gets smoke and debris away from the area that you are actually engraving. Even if you are engraving something and you tell the application such as Lightburn not to use air assist, it still will use the tiniest amount, and that's to keep your lens safe and clean from any smoke and debris. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna walk you through the software options. Now, it does come with an application that you can use on mobile devices. However, I do prefer Lightburn, so I'm going to be showing off how to use Lightburn and not their app today. So to get started with the project, I'm going to put my material down. I'm going to manually move the laser into about the area where I want to have it. One thing to note is this laser does not come equipped with a red dot to help you kind of place things, but another reason why I'm going to show you Lightburn is there's a way to use blue light to basically trace your material. Something that is unique to use with a diode laser. I would never advise that you do it with a CO2 laser. In fact, Lightburn will warn you. So anywho, so once you get it down there, if you haven't focused yet, go ahead and double check your focus by swinging down the little foot. Everything seems fine. I can move the material around, so we're good. Now we can go into Lightburn and test the laser. In order to turn on the blue light framing option, you need to go up to the edit menu and down to device settings. This will show you the device settings for the machine that you have selected. And then what you can do is you can go down to other options and you want to enable the laser fire button and tab just under that laser on when framing. Click OK and then go to the move window. Now I am actually going to be using user origin for my start location. So what I'm going to do is now that I have the laser jogged into a position that I prefer, I'm going to click set origin. That is going to basically tell the laser this is your start point, hence the name origin. Now what you can do is you can press the fire button. I put it at 1% power. It is not going to hurt a fly, but again, still not going to put my arm under it. But press fire and you'll be able to see a blue beam hitting the material, and then you can kind of move the material into place where you believe that starting point is going to be. The other thing that you can do is you can use the frame buttons, and because we toggled that second option, when you click frame, it is going to trace a blue line around the area that it's going to engrave, but of course without actually harming the material. Once we have everything positioned and confirmed, we can slide that protective cover right back on. And now it's quieted up because you can't hear all of the fans going. Now we can hit go in Lightburn and let it do its thing. We're going to remove the cover and take it out and have a look. And it's not half bad. I turned on over scanning and I kind of slowed down the speed. You can see some of the script text isn't all that awesome, but there are workarounds for that. You can see like the evolution of me cranking the power and slowing the speed. So let me show you a trick for that while we're kind of assessing this. I tend to do this with all wood products anyway when I engrave. I very rarely do not do this, but I will take the entire bit of data here that is supposed to be the engraving, and I will right click and do duplicate. This creates a complete copy of the layer that you had before. However, now it's got this weird outline. So I'm going to assign a different color to it, and typically I'll do green. And then what I do is I make it a line and I assign it scoring values. So for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 50 speed, 30% power, and that is going to basically do a score line around the edges after I've done an engraving. Sometimes even if you have over scanning turned on, or you speed up, or whatever you do with the power to crank it, you sometimes just need to have that border burned in on the wood due to the nature of the natural material. So now you can see it's going to go around all of those edges that it had made with the engraving and just outline them with this scoring. Now let's take it out one more time to examine it. And we can easily compare this against the previous version because it's right above it. You can see it is a lot easier to read. It's a little bit darker, but it's just cleaned up the edges a bit by going around and popping it with that diode one more time with the outline. Now I did make that text dangerously small. I personally wouldn't do a ton of that, especially with script, but I definitely wanted to test it at least being 3 millimeters in height. That is about as small as I would be willing to go with anything engraved with a laser, even if it's a diode, with such a fine point such as this one. Now, like I said, normally I will do a score layer after I do an engrave layer with wood products. Don't necessarily do this with acrylic or leatherette. It's really just with the wood because of how deep it's going to go and basically the behavior of the material since it has a grain. Cool. Now that we've done a test, I've walked through the features, let's talk about pricing. Comparatively speaking, it is significantly cheaper than other portable or handheld laser options. This laser at the 5-watt version at the time of this recording goes for about $250 US. If you want the 3-watt version, which does have a smaller dot, then that's going to run you roughly $200. Now, because I know someone's going to ask me, yes, it can actually cut wood and acrylic. It doesn't cut clear acrylic because, again, it's a blue light laser, it's a diode. They don't cut through transparent objects. So what you're looking at is a 5-watt, and you're probably going to have to do multiple passes or slow it way, way, way down and use 100% power. The only reason that I didn't demo doing it is because I'm in my sewing room and I didn't want to get any risk of smoke pouring out of this. Also, if I'm using a 5-watt diode laser, the last thing I want to do with it is cut. I would much rather use a little laser like this to do extreme precision engraving. You're going to get really good results with engraving on a lower wattage laser. That's just how it works. They have smaller dots on them. That's why the 3-watt version of this machine has a smaller dot. So if that's something that you prefer, then that's what you need to go with. However, if you're looking to cut and quickly, I'm not quite sure that a 5-watt laser, regardless of brand or size, is right for you. Thank you so much for your time. Please feel to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave your comments below on what you think of the Sculpfun iCube 5-watt. I've left information in the video's description if you want to take a peek at it and buy one for yourself. Let me know if you do, because that's pretty cool. I would love to know what you think of it after you've used it for a few months. I'm definitely going to be taking this as part of my laser arsenal, just so I have multiple options in case my booth gets busy.